Hey students, it is Tuesday, which means we are back with another video today. Now, last week we talked about starting off 2021 on the right foot and maybe some strategies for how we can best do that. Now, I want to kind of transition into the recognition and the reality that while it's a new year, we're still somewhat in the same situation of having to be isolated, having to be apart from one another, and still kind of fighting this virus and this pandemic just in isolation. And so the focus of today's video is loneliness and isolation. I want to touch on that briefly, share a few scriptures with you all, share a few points that maybe would be helpful for dealing with loneliness or isolation, and maybe encourage you to try and take some of those up. Now, when I first thought of the topic of isolation and loneliness, I thought to myself, okay, what are some verses that maybe speak to the reality that God is present with us, that He is a friend to us, that He is walking alongside us? And there was two particular ones that came to mind. The Bible is full of them, but I want to share these two. It's Psalm 139, 1 through 12, and Matthew 28, 20. So let me start with 139, 1 through 12, and then we'll dig into Matthew. Psalm 139, he says this: O Lord, you have searched me and know me. You know when I sit down and when I rise up. You discern my thoughts from afar. You search out my path and my lying down, and you are acquainted with all my ways. Even before a word is on my tongue, behold, O Lord, you know it altogether. You hem me in behind and before me, and lay your hand upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me. It is high, I cannot attain it. Where shall I go from your spirit, or where shall I flee from your presence? If I ascend to the heaven, you are there. If I make my bed in Sheol, you are there. If I take the wings of the morning and dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea, even there your hand shall lead me, and your right hand shall hold me. If I say, surely the darkness shall cover me, and the light about me be night, even the darkness is not dark to you. The night is as bright as the day, for darkness is as light with you. So it's just that reminder that like wherever we go, wherever we're at, whatever is going on, whether it's light or whether it's dark, God is present with us. And David needed that reminder back in his time, and so too do we need that reminder presently today. Now, in the New Testament, we get a reminder from Jesus himself, right at the end of Matthew, right after he's getting ready to leave his disciples. Jesus closes the book of Matthew by saying, and behold, I am with you always to the end of the age. And so we know that when Jesus left, he actually sent the Holy Spirit into the world to be present with us. He said that the helper that he was sending would actually be better than him being present here on earth. And so we know that we can trust Jesus' words there, that regardless of whether Jesus is physically here with us, right, just as God was not physically in person there with David, we know that the Holy Spirit is presently with us as well. And so when we talk about the practical ways that we can deal with loneliness and deal with isolation, I want those to be filtered through the reminder that, number one, God is present with us in those moments. And number two, that God uses like physical means, human means, to make his presence known to us. Right, so keep those in mind as we talk about practical ways that we can deal with loneliness or deal with isolation. Now, the reason this is an important topic is because when we think about loneliness, when we think about isolation, there's a lot of temptations that can arise when we are not dealing with those properly, right? When we're not taking the loneliness that we feel and filtering it through the proper lenses, oftentimes that's what can lead us into sin and making poor decisions and just getting down and being depressed. Right, so we want to make sure that we're dealing with these things the right way. So I thought of 3 practical ways that at least have helped me, but hopefully can help you deal with isolation and loneliness as we're still apart from one another. Now, the first one is relatively basic, and I'm sure that you guys are already doing this, but if you're not, I would encourage you to do it. And if you are, I would encourage you to continue to do it. It's call your friends. Right? Call your friends. Set up a Zoom call, set up a FaceTime, set up a phone call. Maybe it's to play some games, or maybe it's just to catch up on life. But we need that interaction with one another. And I would encourage you to set aside time to make that. Number 2 is pick up a new hobby. Right? Pick up a new hobby. Oftentimes we talk about New Year, making resolutions, right? We start new things at the beginning of the year. This is such a good time to pick up a new hobby. Find an instrument you want to play. Find a craft that you want to learn, right? Figure out something that you can do that'll take your mind off of the fact that you are having to be apart from other people, and you can like pick up and learn something new. So whatever it may be, I don't know, maybe you can give me some ideas for hobbies that I can pick up, or maybe I can think of some ideas for you, but I would encourage you to pick up a new hobby and try something new during this time. And then number 3 is just to ask your family to do something with you, right? Ask your family to play a game with you. Ask your family to watch a movie with you, right? Maybe pick up a TV show that you guys can watch together, like watch an episode a night or something. And I promise you, the more things that you think of to fill that time, the easier it'll be to get through that time. And so while I hope and I pray that this time of isolation will end soon and we can get back to meeting with one another together soon and that you guys can get back to meeting with your friends in person soon, I just don't know when that'll be. And so as we continue to kind of wrestle through this time, I want us to think of ways that we can hopefully continue to just address isolation, address loneliness with one another. So let me know if you have any other ideas or things that we can do as a student ministry to help us all deal with this time. And let me know what games you guys are playing. Let me know what activities you guys are doing. Let me know if you pick up a new hobby and what that might be. But hopefully this serves as an encouragement to you this week. And I'm hoping that we can just continue to fight isolation and loneliness with one another, remembering that God is always with us. So I hope you guys have a great Tuesday. Talk to you later.